You know, there's nothing wrong with simple games, and fantasy already has everything it needs for a solid party experience. Give us some races, some classes, some gear, and send us on our way to the nearest dungeon. We each have a simple and obvious role to play, and we're playing for XP, better gear, and an exciting challenge. Oh, and to have a good time with friends or whatever. I bring this up because Enshrouded fills me with a bit of hope in that it provides a cooperative medieval fantasy experience that might be better played with other people. The question is whether it delivers a fanciful feast of gameplay or the discount frozen dinner of basic design. Let's start with the lore since that's where Enshrouded starts, taking a few seconds before shoving animated ink exposition into our faces. There is a fantasy kingdom in a fantasy land that is visited by the most stereotypical robed figure drug dealer ever, who gets everyone hooked on a magical juice simply called elixir. This shit is so good that the kingdom drops everything to start setting up excavation operations, or wells, just to get more of it. Conflicts arise, people are killed, and no one is surprised. Oh, except for when the wells unleash an evil fog like a long-held fart onto the land called the Shroud. As expected, it starts to kill and corrupt everything, and only you, and a bunch of other yous, called the Flameborn, have any chance of stopping the Shroud by supposedly plugging up all the geographic buttholes. The game is an action-adventure RPG and pulls it off quite well. The environments are huge and dynamic with plenty of danger to accidentally wander into to be torn to pieces. Lots of vast and scenic scenery that you'll appreciate for a few seconds after you get too close to an edge, and end up leaving bloody skid marks with your face as you slide down the mountain. It really should be commended for the immense sense of freedom that you get after a relatively light tutorial, that you can choose to ignore if you want. Once you leave the starting area, the world is yours to explore and change how you want within your limitations. The idea of the Shroud creating zones of death and decay adds a nice sprinkling of variety to the overworld makeup, while providing a more approachable risk versus reward scenario. There are also survival craft mechanics, and ironically, this game is made by Keen Games because I'm not keen on this idea. Boom. There's nothing wrong with survival craft, but it's becoming so commonplace, it's like Enshrouded is that new student in RPG class who bought the same lunchbox as everyone else because it was the quickest and easiest way to try and fit in. And like a lunchbox, survival craft has a very particular place in gaming, a place for people with too much free time on their hands. To its credit, you don't have to craft or even survive, but many of the quests will bring you back to the chore wheel that will only spin once you build a toilet or something. In the name of convenience, you can craft essentials while you're out in the field, like rudimentary weapons and tools for quick solutions. It can be a pain to have to keep coming back to craft new gear and upgrades whenever you find the right materials, but fast travel is available from the start, so as long as you don't get tired of seeing load screens pop up regularly, then you're good to go. The whole world of Enshrouded seems to be built on wet sand since the ground beneath your feet is more of a suggestion than a cold hard fact. I thought about taking a few minutes to stock up on pickaxes and start digging down until I reached the end of the programmer's sanity. It was at that point that I remembered something. Hey, isn't this an adventure RPG? Why the fuck do I care about digging or contracting? There are tons of animals and monsters out there that need slaughtering, chests that need opening, loot that needs looting, and the land that needs exploring. I can do that right now! After I'm done building this house so this random guy I summoned out of the ether can be happy and help me craft more random stuff. It may sound like I'm complaining, because I am, but I'm also having fun. I'm finding myself surprisingly engaged with the idea of building a base and having buildings for all the other Flameborn peons I meet. And to meet those peons, I need to go exploring. I need to brave the Shroud to find special materials so I can make things to become Spider-Man or a flying squirrel so that I can go to even more places. I'm still sour that the game has the nerve to say that my graphics card is outdated when some of the visuals remind me of a discarded Oblivion render painted with the Fortnite brush. Good game.